You know what it is. That's right. It's time to talk money with your money nerd and financial coach. Now, tighten those purse strings and open those ears. It's the Money Talk with Tiff podcast.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited because I have Petra-Ann on the line, and she is the host of Island Money365, and I wanted to bring her on to talk about what island money looks like, being from a Caribbean background. So hey Petra-Ann, how are you?
I am great. Thanks for having me. So happy to be here. Finally, yes. I'm like, Tiff, when are you going to have me on? Seriously. I'm kidding.
I know. No, she's not. She said that every week in my book club. Speaking of Black Business Book Club, definitely join us. We have a ball. But anyway, let's hop right into what we're here for today. So from just me being here in Jamaica, I see a few differences in how money is treated when it comes to Caribbean households. So let's just dive into some of the things that are the same, things that are different, and then maybe some tips around how to navigate, those things. So first and foremost, I'll say what I've noticed is that in the culture here, it's like, have kids so that way they can take care of you later. And I'm like, in the States, you on your own. So talk to us a little about that.
Yes, that's something I realized too when I first migrated. Like in Jamaica, everybody live on the same plot of land. Like the boys go off, get married, and they bring the girls home, and they just build another room on the house, or they take piece of land and build a home for themselves. But yes, I was always under the impression that my father, my mom is working, and I'm gonna take care of them. It's just what it is, Multiple generation living on the same land, in the same house, or you heard the expression, just one room, just build a one room, Tiff.
No, I haven't.
No, so just build a room. But but things are changing a little bit. I do see now when I return home and see family members, like they're building homes or they're renting homes, and that wasn't what it was when I was there. When I was younger, it was like, okay, here's your home, and we do everything. We don't leave home unless, once again, you're married or you're bringing your spouse back home, and we just add to the house or take plot of land and add to it.
That's awesome. And I feel like that is a great way to go, because I feel like just as people, as Black people, because it was the same way even when I was in Africa, they have like compounds where the whole family stays like in the same vicinity. And then, people get married. The spouse just moves in. All the cousins are outside playing together. When the lady that I was staying with, she cooked, everybody was like, oh, what you make? And then people just grabbing food. It's just very community oriented.
Exactly. My grandmother, when I visit my grandmother in Savlamarca, she's down that side of the island. Savlamarca, Westmoreland. She would like, take this to your grandfather around the corner, or take this to your uncle, and just talking about food. They cook, and everybody come and eat from the pot. My cousins who have a house right next door come over and eat. It's just one communal thing. So it's different here. Here, I cannot go to my neighbor and say, can I get a spoon of flour, a cup of flour, a cup of sugar? And that's really different, right?
Not at all. And, I always joke, and I'm like, shoot, I stayed at my house in the States for like 7 years, and I only knew like a couple of neighbors, and it was just a, hey, how you doing? All right, bye. Like, it wasn't like here, like before I hit record, I said, oh, my nose is a little stuffy, and one of my neighbors is going to get me some Leaf Alive so that way my nose can unstuff. And in the States, that would never happen. Like, people wouldn't even know you were sick, for instance.
Yeah, that's true. And, I'm happy you said that, because here, that is correct. But in my neighborhood, right, I am different. And you can see that I'm different because I know everybody in my neighborhood. I make it a point of duty to know them. They know me. We have conversations when we're out there. So, but that's not the same among the other neighbors. But yeah, all the neighbors know me because that's my experience growing up. I see everybody, I'm like, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and when I'm walking and I see them, I stop, we have a conversation and we keep going. So yeah.
Yes. And another difference I noticed money related is kind of like what you said, like if it's a family house, everybody stays here until, you get married or something like that. And so I noticed that even like kids in their 30s, and it really doesn't matter. The parents are like, okay, until you're ready to fly, like
yes,
I'm gonna still look out. So I feel like that's a difference too.
Yeah, they're not kicking you out, which I found very weird. Like when I come here and people say, "Oh, when you turn 18, I'm finished." I'm like, "What do you mean you're finished?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And I've heard a lot of my friends here say that. "Oh, yeah, when you're 18, I'm done. My responsibility is finished." I'm like, "Really?" Because I mean, I have cousins and stuff still living at home, and even though they have careers and great jobs and they have kids, they're like, we're still on the same land. We're still there, so I don't get it. It's a new concept to me, but no, you can move away if you want. And what's happening though, like if people migrate to different countries, that's also shifting the dynamic a little bit. But for the most part, especially in the country, we're still hanging on. We're still hanging out with our in-laws. So hopefully if you're married into the families, it's all good.
Right. That's why I'm like, I gotta find me a Jamaican man to get married to, so I can have a whole extended family.
Go to the country. Make sure you get one from the country.
Gotcha. Hilarious. So okay, let's back up a little bit though.
Yes.
Because the original point that I was making with you're expected to take care of your parents.
Yes.
Now, what if we have someone listening and they're like, I'm from a Caribbean background as well. This is the expectation, but I live in America and this is not the reality. Like, I don't know how I'm making ends meet on my own, let alone, sending money back to the island. So, and I know you talk about this all the time on your podcast. What are some things that you can think about to tell those people out there listening like that?
Okay, this is a real challenge. This is the real challenge that most of us have when we migrate, and especially for your first generation, that expectation of us, and we are coming here and we're still in the survival mode, right? Still in survival mode. And you got to be honest. I tell them all that, even in my family, I say, you have to be honest with your family back home. Do not give this image that life is great. I mean, you come up here and you go back home to visit and you're bringing down so many suitcases, you're sending down barrels every month. You're dressing in like all name brands, knowing that you put it on credit cards, you probably took it on a personal loan. Don't do it. Be honest and say, look, times are hard. I am living in the basement of somebody's house. I'm sleeping on the couch or the settee of somebody's house. And I am making my way up to financial stability. But this is where I'm at. And you guys just got to understand right now. Make a plan if you know that's part of it, right? Make a plan for yourself. Say, okay, I know I need to uplift myself and gain financial stability here. I make a life for myself here, but also I want to also uplift my family and and give them financial stability back home. And you got to come up with a plan. Say, every quarter, I'm going to send them this amount of money and let them know when I send it to you, this is all I have, so they can use the resources that you're providing them wisely. And don't think it's going to forever free flow, because people get things and they just give it out to neighbors and say, oh, my son, they are foreign. It's all right, man. We can't take care of you. We can't give you. No, your son is struggling, working 3, 4, 5 jobs. To send you that barrel or to send you that little change. And not getting any sleep. And sometimes you might have to borrow to send you those things because they know you're in need. So you really make your family understand the struggles that you're in, the reality of it, so they can really take care of the resources that you're sending to them and see the full picture.
Right. I love that because, that's why we're here. Money Talk, right? It's so important to be open and honest about your financial situation to kind of head off any issues later down the road. Because, if you're living this facade and, you're like, yeah, I'm in America or I'm foreign, wherever it is, and I got it made and things is good, then when you start struggling, people still gonna have their hand out. Like,
yeah. And a big thing, Tiff, is just let your family know that $1 here is $1. Wherever you are, wherever you migrated to, $1 is $1, right? Every time you send money back home, you're not converting it, right? They can convert their money to theirs and see like, oh, it's a lot of money. Here, it's $1. There's no conversion you know? So the value is different, and they have to understand that. So they might think, oh, you might be getting a good paycheck, but that by the time you finish with the expenses, what's left over for you, right? Mm-hmm. And then you got to send part of that back home with family and live off that too. So you have to be honest and upfront.
Yes, I love that tip. Okay, what's one more tip? Because we can't give it all away, but what's one more tip that you can give anyone in the diaspora when it comes to dealing with money and family expectations?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's another one. I give you a lot. Got a lot of gems. No. Ask them, what is it that they expect from you, right? Because we already know they expect you to take care of them in their old age. Like my mom, even though she lives here with me, we still have that conversation. She was like, do not put me in a home. She's like, don't put me in a home. Let's be clear, don't put me in a home. And then when my mom is living here, but my grandfather who passed, a couple of years ago, God bless his soul. My mom, when he got sick, my mom was sending money back home to take care of him. Now, this is something I want to say, and it's another thing. This is the big tip. When family members are telling you that your grandparents, your parents are sick, right? Tip, this is big. Get some receipts. Get some receipts, okay? And I'm not saying anything to say anything. You can infer what you want to infer, but I'm saying get some receipts and then decide if the treatment is even necessary. For example, my grandfather was 90 in his early 90s, 93, 94. And some things that they say the doctor want to do, I'm like, that's not necessary. He's 94. Not saying we want to kill him off, but but his quality of life would not improve, or what is it doing? Is it extending his life? Is making him comfortable? Like, something's not necessary. So I will say get receipts, and then not only that, you can talk to the doctors. It's not impossible. You can set up a conversation to talk with the doctor and the nurse staff and stuff like that. So I will say, make sure you know exactly what's happening, what's taking place. And another thing, I know you said talk about family, but if you are living abroad and you want to return back to your homeland and you want to build a home, please make sure your money is actually going to what it is that you are sending it for, and make sure it's getting done. Because I've seen a lot of situations where people thought they were building a home and there's no home, but yet they were sending money weekly, and family members are saying, not family members, I wouldn't say that aloud, we can't edit that. The individuals that they entrusted to get it done were saying, we need money for this, we need money for this, and then there was nothing there. So those are the things I will advise.
Yes, that's
verify.
big.
Trust but verify.
Yes, that's big, because I've heard so many horror stories from different people that live abroad and are trying to invest here or trying to build residence here, what have you, and things just don't get done like they thought it would. No. And I actually thought, me and my business brain, I'm like, ooh, that might be a business for me. It's just to make sure people get their stuff done and be like the in-between. But anywho, those are some awesome tips. Now, you have a podcast. I know I mentioned it when we first got on. It's Island Money365. If you can just give our audience a little bit, I know you talk about what we talked about today, but what more can they expect from the podcast and how can they tune in?
Yes, it is on all platforms. Well, let's say all. It's on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube. Yes, it's on those platforms. But what we talk about, I like to share the migration story of other immigrants, showing their success, their failures, their struggles. Just tell the real story of it, and then what they're doing right now, just to give back, and how they're accomplish or reach the American dream. And the reason why that came about, because when I first moved here, Tiff, is that everybody was coming through and going through the same struggle or similar struggle, right? And I'm like, why don't we just share with each other what we're going through, so we can say, hey, me bought me two over there, so right? So don't go over there. It's a big rock stone over there. There's a big rock stone over there. So don't go over there. You're gonna buck your toe. But everybody just keep everything to themselves. And I'm like, because they're so scared. I don't know what they're scared of. So I always ask my grandmother, like, why don't we just share and talk more? And my grandmother will be like, I'm fasting too fast. And I'm like, no, I just want to know why we can't open up and tell each other our journey so that we can say it might not happen the same way to us, but at least we're familiar and we can, navigate the terrain a little bit better. So I just want to hear the migration story of other individuals, their money stories, and how they make it happen.
Absolutely. And I love that you are giving that platform. So like you said, we can all learn from each other. So thank you so much for joining me today. Now, if there's any way that people can reach out to you, maybe it's someone interested in learning more about your journey or what have you, where can they find you other than the podcast?
Oh, yes. www.brownfinancialsolutions.com. I'm a financial educator, as our wonderful Tiff here, even though Tiff is light years ahead of me. I love it. And I'm just thinking about, and you can find me on Facebook, Brown Financial Solutions, and Instagram, Island Money365.
Yes, I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And this was great. And hopefully it can help some of those listeners that are struggling with these types of situations. Bye.
Thank you for listening, joining, and being a part of the Money Talk with Tiff podcast this week. You can check Tiff out every Thursday for a new Money Talk podcast. But if you just can't wait until next week, you can listen to previous podcast episodes at moneytalkwitht.com or follow Tiff on all social media platforms at Money Talk with T. Until next time, spend wise by spending less than you make. A word to the money wise is always sufficient.